Well, I think we're going to cover a little bit today, a little bit on the what everybody's now starting to call Drag and Drive series. Going to be multiple ones. Started out with Drag Week in 2005 with 41 of us. Now you've got Matt Frost putting on Rocky Mountain Race Week. Then he started Rocky Mountain Race Week 2.0. Then Midwest Drags got thrown in the middle of that, and now you've got Sick Week this year in Florida. So you've always had Power Tour that Hot Rod started. A lot of people refer to Drag Week as Power Tour, which I kind of have to giggle at people on. I said, we don't spend any time in the lawn chairs waxing on our cars. It's not a traveling car show. Drag Week isn't. So a lot of people understand it. Now more than ever, a lot of people have done it. Still on some people's bucket list to go do. It's like I've always said, until you actually go do it, it's hard to explain it to anyone. One of the better ways that I've done over the years is I tell people, they say, well, I drive my car a lot. I say, well, okay, that's fine. So you're going to start off on a Monday in Tulsa, and you're going to drive it from Tulsa to Dallas, and the next day you're going to drive it from Dallas to Shreveport. Next day you're going to drive it to Memphis, and then you're going to drive it back from Memphis back to Tulsa, all in 5 days. And they'll be like, well, I don't know about all that. And I said, well, the next guy says, well, I race my car a lot. Okay, so you're going to race it in Tulsa on Monday, and you're going to put it on the trailer, and you're going to go to Dallas and race it in Dallas on Tuesday, and then you're going to race it in Shreveport, race it in Memphis, and haul it back to Tulsa and race it again on Friday. Well, I don't know about all that. That's 5 days in a row. And I said, well, now do them both at the same time. I said, so you don't get the pleasure of hauling your car. You race the wheels off of that thing and try and go as fast as you can. Hope you didn't wound it enough that it leaves you stranded on the side of the highway somewhere in between racetracks. But yet when you get to the racetrack, now you want to bear down on it with gritting your teeth again to make it go as fast as it'll go. So it becomes really hard on actually the driver and the crew, the car itself, trying to make it do two things. Everybody thinks that the racing part is the hardest part about it, but truth be known, it's actually the easiest part. It's pretty simple. You go there, you go down the racetrack, come back, do it again or again, depends on how many runs you want to make. But the biggest thing is trying to make the thing drive, and that's the toughest thing. Is that so many things can happen on the drive, whether it be fuel system issues, electrical system issues, cooling issues, oiling issues. I mean, you name it, things can happen on that drive that are just so unforeseen that one small thing can cause you to not finish the week, or let alone, not finish where you want to in your class. So it's a big deal. Drag Week has seemed like it's always been 5 days. You start in one place. Other than the very first year, we didn't start and stop in the same place, but now it makes a big loop, as do all of them. So you start and stop in the same place, leave your truck and trailer that you got your car there in the impound where you can't get it out, can't come back and get any tools or anything else during the week. Have to take everything that you use during that week basically with you, carry in your car, in your trailer. If you want to ship something in, next day something in, that's all great and fine. So Drag Week has been race in the morning, drive that afternoon. You get a route map. You have to follow that route specifically. There's some checkpoints that you have to stop, take pictures of your car. That way everybody knows that you don't cut the route. Over the years, there's been some people do that. There's been some people load their cars on trailer. Most everybody has been busted. There's been a few that have got away with it that I know. So it's all about the integrity of the event. For me, it's about policing yourself. Some of these guys aren't real well policed. It's more about seeing if they can finish the event no matter what it takes. But to do the event and finish it like you should and like how it started out and as an accomplishment means a lot to me. But to look at drag week, let's just say, for example, you race in the morning, you leave at the latest early afternoon, drive 200 to 400 miles that day to get to the next track, then do it all over again the next day. Some of the other series, as in Matt Frost's Rocky Mountain Race Week 1.0, he split it up where we had some drive days, because we had a couple of drives in the middle of the summer in July in the Midwest where it was over 100 degrees, and you drove from Kearney, Nebraska, let's say, to Denver, Colorado, and you're, once again, it is hot and it's blazing hot. So, and you might drive 425, 450 miles in a day. So he made it into, you raced one day, and your long drives you would race, you'd actually drive the next day and then wouldn't race again until the following. So it spread it out a little bit. It made it a little bit more enjoyable per se. Then he also ran you up through the mountains, which was a task in itself. We went down through one year an 8% grade for 4 miles, and I think it tested every last car out there's brakes, trailer brakes, you name it. But that broke up the drive a little bit, made it a little easier on the participants. We had a chance to get up at daybreak or before and drive when it was cool. Get up, leave at 5:30 in the morning, and get in decent time in the afternoon before it got sweltering hot. His 2.0 I have not been on, but he has tried to run it. I know, run the races in the evening and then drive the next day. The downside of that a lot of people haven't thought about is, and a friend of mine, Doug Klein, brought it up to me, because I hadn't even thought about it, but if you break, let's just say at the racetrack that evening, and need parts and can't find parts, so it's 10 o'clock, well, O'Reilly's or AutoZone or whoever is closed, so you can't find parts for your car, you can't get anything till the next morning, you can't fix it that night. And on top of that, then you have to drive that day and be at that racetrack to race that following evening. So it cuts into the amount of time you've got to actually finish that race and get your car there. I shouldn't say finish the race, but finish your repair and get the car there. God forbid you actually needed something that you had to get shipped in from out of state or whatever to get there, and you had to next day air it. Well, now, seeing how you can't even order that part until that following morning, you're going to miss that next day's race. So the format of all these being different offers different challenges to how you have to play the event, to how you have to look at your part situation and everything else. I also haven't been on the Midwest Drag Series. Honestly, kind of looking forward to doing it this year as a little bit of maybe tune-up for Drag Week. We've got some plans with David Visner. He's doing a new engine platform, and this has been in the works for a few years now, but he is close to having an engine completed that we can that I'll be putting in the S10, and if everything works out according to plan, then we're going to try and run probably the Midwest Drag Series with it, and possibly Drag Week this fall, depending on scheduling with some of the other events going on. Once again, I'm putting the Chevy 2 back together. Not exactly sure what I'm going to do with it other than just go out and try and drive the thing and have some fun with it. Maybe try and make a few appearances during the summer at some different tracks, different events. Haven't looked at Sick Week. Everybody's pretty wound up about this deal. I haven't even looked at the rules. It's going to be a good time of year. The only downside I see is that normally a lot of people have their cars apart in the wintertime to put everything back together. But I think in anticipation of this, everybody has probably got their stuff apart and back together in a quicker, shorter period of time than what it normally takes them. But I think that'll be a good event. Once again, haven't looked at the itinerary or the rules package on it, but just being in Florida in the middle of the winter, I think everybody will be after a nice vacation, if nothing else. So quite a few events now for the Drag and Drive Series. It appears NMCA may be trying to do something similar too. I haven't looked at those rules either, but anyhow, a little bit of insight into what may be coming for us this year, and maybe a little helpful explanation to those that haven't been on some of these drag and drive events, how they work, and why it is such a grueling event and such an accomplishment to finish, let alone, win your class or win the overall. So anyhow, hope that helps everybody out a little bit, and we'll talk to you later. And don't forget, if you need any parts, give us a call.